This video will cover the use and purpose of the DS-060, Lessor Personal Property Declaration Schedule, that is widely referred to as the Leased Property Declaration Schedule. This schedule should be completed by all entities that are in the business of leasing taxable personal property or that are in the business of manufacturing such property for lease. In accordance with Section 39.3.119.5 Colorado Revised Statutes, as of January 1st, 2019, you are not required to file this schedule if the total actual value of your personal property per county is $7,700 or less. This exemption amount is adjusted every other year, so check with the county assessor to determine the current exemption level. You should also contact the county assessor if you are unsure whether the total actual value of your personal property exceeds the exemption amount. If you are in doubt, we recommend that you go ahead and file the appropriate personal property schedule because there are penalties associated with not filing. Each year, assessors in Colorado must revalue all taxable personal property located in their county, considering data provided by property owners on declaration schedules and accompanying attachments. Certain personal property is exempted from Colorado property taxes. For detailed information, please see the Assessor's Reference Library, Volume 5, Chapters 1 and 2, which can be found at the Division of Property Taxation's website in the Publications tab. As soon after the January 1st assessment date as possible, a declaration schedule is sent to owners of taxable personal property who are in the assessor's database. Personal property owners that have not received a declaration schedule by early February are advised to contact the county assessor to request the current version of the appropriate declaration schedule. The declaration schedule is a primary source of personal property discovery, classification, and valuation information for an assessor. Filing the declaration schedule helps the assessor to accurately record and update the names of the businesses and owners of taxable personal property. Declaration schedules and any attachments are confidential documents, subject to limited exceptions identified in Section 39.5.120 Colorado Revised Statutes. Personal property owners are to submit a complete itemized list of all personal property that is owned by them, in their possession, or under their control on January 1st each year, as required by Section 39.5.108 Colorado Revised Statutes. To avoid a penalty, the owner should file this declaration or an extension request with the county assessor by no later than the April 15th deadline. This requires that the schedule be hand-delivered to the assessor's office or postmarked on or before April 15th. Owners may extend the filing deadline if, by April 15th, the assessor receives their written request and $20 for a 10-day extension or $40 for a 20-day extension. This extension applies to all personal property schedules an owner is required to file in the county. So if an owner has multiple personal property accounts, they need to file only one extension request for all of their accounts. If a declaration is filed late, an owner may incur a late filing penalty of $50 or 15% of the taxes due, whichever is less, and a valuation based upon the best information available. Additionally, if the property is determined to be omitted personal property, that is, it was never reported to the assessor, the owner could incur a penalty of up to 25% of its assessed value. After the declaration schedule is filed, the assessor may request additional information. The assessor then estimates the value of your property and mails a notice of valuation no later than June 15th to the address listed on the declaration schedule. We will now take you through the DS-060 Lessor Personal Property Declaration Schedule line by line. This is a paraphrasing of the DS-060 Lessor Personal Property Declaration Schedule instructions, which are available with the declaration schedule and will serve as a good reference while familiarizing yourself with the DS-060 Lessor Personal Property Declaration Schedule. This allows the assessor to ensure that their records are corrected and that the current owner receives a declaration schedule. Letter A requests the name and mailing address of the current personal property owner, as well as the business name and physical location as of the January 1st assessment date. Existing accounts may have a declaration schedule sent to them by the assessor with the pre-printed owner name, mailing address, business name, and physical location information. If the pre-printed information is correct, you may simply move on. If not, Write any corrections in the appropriate spaces provided. This allows the assessor to ensure that their records are corrected and that the current owner receives a declaration schedule. Letter B requests the date the business began operation at this location and the primary product or service provided. Providing this information allows for verification or correction of assessor records. It also helps the assessor correctly classify and value the type of personal property that is being declared. If on January 1st you do not own the business or the business does not exist, you are not liable for the personal property taxes. Letter C requests that you note this information by checking the appropriate business status box and the date of any change. Review each status carefully to ensure that only the applicable boxes are checked. This section asks you to report additional information clarifying the ownership. This allows the assessor to correctly classify, track, and value taxable personal property to the appropriate owner and location. If you are a new business, you must provide a complete, itemized listing of all personal property at this location. Letter D asks for an itemized listing of leased, loaned, or rented personal property. Most businesses simply attach their itemized asset list. This is the recommended response to this section since it provides the most accurate valuation information. Otherwise, check the appropriate boxes and indicate no additions or no deletions as applicable. You should include all expensed assets with a life of greater than 1 year, all fully depreciated assets that are still in use, and all stored assets that are subject to IRS depreciation. Do not list special mobile machinery that have license plates, rental decals, or Z-tabs. Use the spaces provided to identify more detailed information in any minor additions and deletions, or simply provide additional sheets as necessary. Letter E is designed to provide information on leased personal property where the lease contract ended during the prior year. The goal of this section is to determine what happened to the property. To accomplish this, check the appropriate box indicating whether the leased property was returned to you or whether it was purchased by the customer. In addition, some descriptive information is also requested. You may use the form area provided or attach extra sheets if necessary. Property that was leased during the previous calendar year but has been returned to the manufacturer or lessor for scrapping, substantial reconditioning, renovating, or remanufacturing must be reported in the Section F. The assessor uses this information to correct the records related to certain equipment that was once inventory that may now be taxable if it is held for rent or lease and is subject to depreciation. Owners of this type of personal property must report it to the assessor for the assessment year following the year it was put into service. Attach additional pages as necessary to fulfill the reporting requirements for this section. Letter G requires owners to report motor vehicles or mobile machinery or equipment that they lease to others. This includes a description of the property and the name and address of the lessee. If this property is licensed or has already paid property taxes as evidenced by a Z-tab, then that should also be indicated to avoid double taxation. Finally, to assist the assessor with valuing this property, you are asked to provide the date you acquired the property and the purchase price or the original installed cost if that is different from the purchase price. Or is this a lease that is equivalent to a purchase where the lessee gets ownership of the property at the end of the lease term? The form refers to this as a conditional sales contract. Letter H provides an area to disclose the type of contract or lease that controls the declared property. For example, is this a typical property lease where the lessor gets the property back at the end of the lease? The form refers to this as a true lease. Or is this a lease that is equivalent to a purchase where the lessee gets ownership of the property at the end of the lease term? The form refers to this as a conditional sales contract. Finally, this section asks whether there has been any sales tax paid as part of the lease transaction. Although this section simply asks that you check the applicable box, please note that it also requests that you provide any additional information that would be helpful to explain the lease arrangement. You are asked to check the appropriate boxes and to provide separate attachments as necessary. Letter I requests that you check the appropriate boxes regarding any renewable energy property at this location. If you indicated that you are the owner of renewable energy property, you are directed to complete the Renewable Property Form DS-058 for that property and file it with the assessor. The information collected in this area acts as a renewable energy property discovery source for the assessor and a reminder of filing requirements and resources for the owners of such property. Letter J establishes an affidavit that the party preparing the declaration schedule has reviewed all of the responses and asserts that those responses are accurate to the best of their knowledge. It also includes a checkbox reminding new agents to submit a letter of authorization. In addition, this area closes with a bolded reminder for the owner or authorized agent to complete, sign, and return the declaration to the assessor on or before the April 15th filing deadline. The requested contact information will allow the assessor to contact the party with any questions they may have. The property owner's federal employer identification number or social security number, as well as the phone number, fax number, and email information provided here are confidential and will not be shared with the assessor with any other party. Thank you for watching. We hope this video helps explain the process of completing the DS-060 Lessor Personal Property Declaration Schedule. If you have additional questions, we suggest you call your local county assessor or contact the Colorado Division of Property Taxation at 303-864-7777.